Hey guys, hello. Gotta fix myself up here. How you guys doing? Let's do some housekeeping. All right. Just want to say hello to everybody. Welcome to the infamous Sylvie's channel. And tonight, my special guest is Attorney Anastasios Manettas. You know, guys, I always screw up people's names, so please, I hope you can forgive me on messing up his name. Woo! Gosh. He is ready. He's as he log in, I told him I was gonna warm you guys up first, so you guys could be ready to hear it. Please do not use my content without my permission. Oh, you have an echo? There's an echo? You hear an echo? Oh, okay. Manettas. Okay. He's gonna say his name the right way. Hopefully I catch the right way, right? You have no sound? Oh, you said no, sounds good. Okay, got you. All right. So as because he just got home, we got out of court late. I just rushed in here as well myself. You guys could get ready. Now, I'm going to, depends on how you guys behave. I'm really gonna focus on well, we're gonna let him decide on what he wants to talk about tonight, because it's a lot. I don't know if there's a lot of legalities behind this and all this kind of stuff. So we're just gonna flow. We're gonna flow, and whatever he wants to talk about, that's what we're gonna focus on. Because I don't know what, the law and guidance on certain things. And I know people are watching me. Hey, y'all. I know y'all watching. I know y'all watching me because I've been told that you guys are on my neck. On my neck. So we're gonna we're gonna just go ahead on and yeah, share this live if you don't mind. Let's see. Let me send some messages out to some of my folks just in case they're not on, so they don't know I'm live. Okay. All right, I have to. Don't look that pretty for us. Hey, I only look pretty when the menses come on. I gotta spoof myself up. Okay, I look like Raggedy Ann and Andy. When the guys, the fellas, I gotta look. Even whenever my guests come on, I have to look decent. You know what I mean? Yeah, I gotta represent y'all right? Do you guys get it? I gotta represent y'all right. I just can't look like half something. You know what I mean? I gotta spruce myself up. All right, let me send the link to people so they'll know that I am live. Just bear with me a second. I'm gonna share this link and then I'll send it all to all the people. We're almost there, y'all. Those that's Cam, let me put it in Roy Kelly Radio. All right, let's see. Let's get ready to rumble. Let's see if he's almost in. All right, let's see. He's logging in. As soon as he gets on, we'll be ready to start. As soon as he gets in, we'll be ready to start. How is you guys he just texted me a message. um he's coming on, y'all. Just get ready to rumble. Yeah. Let's see. Let me say hello to the folks in the chat. Hey Galatian. Hello, Nosy Rosie. Hey Kenya. Beverly, you up? Oh my God. It's late over there. Hey, pretty brown eyes. Soledad, where you been? Okay, if I'm your favorite blogger, why have you just been like ignoring me? I haven't seen you in the chat or anything. That means you lost the love that you had for me then. Hey, Lady Coltrane. Hey, pretty brown eyes. Dr. TTH is in the house. Hey, Juanetta. Mika's here. Marlana, Marlana Davis. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. I don't know where you are. Hey, Rita. Hey, Ashley. Teresa. Spitting Fires in the house. Hey, Maurice. Hello. Let's see who else was. Toya. Toya's here. Let's see who else. Twix No. Twix No. TWI TWXNNO. Twix No. Let's see. Hey Marshall. Hey Duana. Hey Randa baby. Oh, let me see. Somebody else I was supposed to be sending the link to. Hold on. Somebody else I was supposed to be sending the link to. Hold on. Okay, I send it to them. Hey Candy. Skin tight. Let's see. Sandra. Okay, I think I got everybody. He should be coming on. He had just got in the house. We we were in court, and then you have Friday traffic in Georgia. Traffic is horrible. So it takes him about an hour to get home, and he's home. So we I didn't want to lose him today, so that's why I said, "Can we get on?" Especially with everything has happened with him. Can you imagine? I did get a chance to see him at court today. His client, Farley, got bond today, and I thought he said he was 650,000, but it's 625,000. So I need to correct my Twitter. It's 625,000, not 650. Regardless of what, it's a lot of money. Once you get to those type of dollars, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. But that he did get bond, and that he did it after he got severed from the case. No, I'm talking about Farley, not the attorney. Attorney got $5,000 bond, but Farley, he got 625 Ks. That's a lot. Okay. Oh, he wants me to email him the link. Hold on. I knew he was gonna have a hard time. Okay, I'm gonna email it to him. That's sorry, guys. He just texted me to email him the link. Hold on. Because I had texted to him, and sometimes the phone acts stupid. So I'm going to email it to him. Just bear with me. All right. Just 1 second, guys. All right. Hey, Getty. Getty is in the house. Yeah, it's 62,000. I mean 62,500. That's how much you said? That's how much. Well, he's gonna give us the real numbers once he gets in. Once he gets in, then he'll give us the real numbers on what's going on. He's coming in now. So we're gonna find out exactly what the amount is and 10%. That's a lot of money. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's really that's well. Okay. Somebody need to get Dom. Tell Dom that I'm live. Just 1 second, guys. He's coming. He's coming. I don't know what he has to pay the bondsman. The 62,000, right? That's what he has to pay the bondsman, right? All right, here he go.
How's it going, y'all?
Good. We can hear there's an echo in the background.
Oh, my bad. How do I?
You just gotta take off the YouTube part in the back. If you speak, let me see. You probably have to close all your windows in the background.
Oh, I see.
Got it? Okay.
How about now?
Let's see. Let me hear. It sounds better. How's it sound, everyone? I think it's okay. There's no echo. All right. Thank you. Finally, we're here.
Yep. It's a pretty good day today.
Yes. How you doing? I want to know how.
Oh, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm free. I'm healthy. I'm good. No complaints.
Wasn't that a scary experience?
I mean, a little bit. Yeah. I mean, that Rice Street is how people say in there. So I feel for the guys, but I didn't have to experience much of that. You know, they held me in the sheriff detention area in the courthouse from 9 to 5, and then they took me to the jail, and all I had to do was, process in and then immediately process out. So they didn't do much besides that. I stayed in the intake area the whole time. And if I didn't have my attorney, his name's Brian Tebbis, he was really on it. And I don't think I would have been out as quick as I was if it wasn't for him. He had already, put pressure on the situation in a way where I had a bond ready to go even before I was being processed. And I was just ready to go. So.
Yeah. Oh man. Can you talk about it or?
Yeah. No, I'm allowed to talk about it. I mean, it was.
So what happened? What actually happened?
Oh, what happened for the incident? I mean, that's more for my attorney to speak on, but I'm totally innocent. No, I was going to say that I'm totally innocent, so I don't mind sharing some of it. I mean, I had my prescribed medications from my doctor that I always carry in my bag, that I've had in my bag for this whole trial and for every courtroom that I'm in and every time I leave the house. And I think it's just been heated all week. Me and the deputies had been a little heated with each other the whole time, and they've really been picking on us and the guys this whole time. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was getting a little snarky with them. Temperature was pretty high the whole week. But it was funny. I was kind of, poking at them. They were poking at me. And then maybe they just got tired and they tried to do what they do to so many people, these trumped up charges, these false charges. I mean, the thing they accuse me of is not even illegal. Like, I had 3 prescribed medications, and
Mm-hmm.
because I only need to carry a couple for one of them, because it's only if something happens,
Mm-hmm.
in a huge bottle. And so I put a couple of those in my other prescription, and that's what I carry in my bag. But
Mm-hmm.
under Georgia law, you don't have to have your bottle at all if you're a patient with a prescription.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was. And so they really jumped to conclusions. The statute has multiple parts. They only read the first line of pills not in their original container. Well, there's only certain categories of pills and people that applies to. And one that it doesn't apply to is someone like me who's prescribed them from their doctor. And so it wasn't even illegal to begin with. So I'm illegally detained. I'm in handcuffs. And anything that happens after you're illegally detained is also thrown out. And you actually are allowed to, technically allowed, I don't recommend this, but you're technically allowed to resist an unlawful detention. So you can't, they try to charge me with obstruction now, but I'll be found not guilty of that too. I'll be found not guilty across the board. And I have an amazing attorney, Brian Tevis. And so I don't think, there's just no way anything's going to stick on me. And they're just ridiculous. They initially charged me with battery on a public official, but then even the people in charge of the final charging allegation didn't go with that. So it was ridiculous. I was trying to get my phone out of my pocket, not 'cause I'm hiding anything in it, but it's my work phone. All my clients call me on that. I don't have my number. I know I'm being detained unlawfully, so I don't know what's going to happen next. Are they going to hurt me? Are they going to take me to jail for a long time? Am I going to get a bond? My clients that have a bond given to them sometimes don't get out of Rice Street for like 2 days, when they're, processing you. So I'm sitting here thinking, man, my clients might see me on the news getting arrested. I'm the one attorney they have that's in charge of their freedom, that's fighting for their life. They're going to see me be arrested. They're going to panic. And they're also going to wonder if I'm okay, because I have pretty close, interactions with my clients. And so I'm worried about that. I wanted at least my phone to be out in the world with someone I trust, so that I can give them my passcode and they can give me the numbers so I can start making some jail calls to my people, my guys. That's what I'm worried about. So I'm in handcuffs. I get my phone out of my left pocket while I'm in handcuffs, and I go to toss it to one of my colleagues. And, I missed the colleague, and I sadly, it touched on one of the deputies' bulletproof vests. So thoughts and prayers out, everybody, to her. I hope she's okay. I really hope she's all right, because that must have been quite traumatizing. So yeah, my phone touches on her bulletproof vest, and it was nuts. These people, man, it's like, for the first time, I actually experienced something that my clients tell me about that I never experienced myself. It was like kids at a birthday party when the piñata burst with the candy. When that phone touched her, they were like, "Whoa, my God, he battered a public official! Oh my God!" Like they were like they had just won the game. But I mean, we've seen the internet today, so I don't think they won in the end.
Okay, so were you charged eventually? Was that dropped?
Charged? No. Well, it wasn't dropped. I just never got charged that in the first place.
Okay.
They changed it to obstruction of an officer, for not following the directions. Like, they were telling me, don't give them your phone, and I did. But that is also a not guilty, because you're allowed to not follow the directions of an unlawful detention,
Did they read you your Miranda rights?
No, I mean, Miranda actually only applies when they're attempting to get a statement from you. So you have to be in custody. They have to ask you a question that's incriminating, and then you answer without being read your rights. And then all that does is exclude the statements. But the obstruction is not going to stick. And then the really slimy thing they did is they charged me with a felony, not just misdemeanors, a felony of possession with a controlled substance, because one of the medications is a controlled substance, and the bottle says a certain dose. And then I had that in there, but then I only got that dose increased in the last few months. And so I also had in there some pills from the prior lower dosage by just 5. It's only 5 milligrams different. And then they try to say that because those two are a different color and they're a different dosage by 5 milligrams than what it says on the outside of the bottle, and that it's a controlled substance, that for those two, I'm guilty of felony possession of a controlled substance. But I was also prescribed those by that same doctor. And so, I mean, that's just ridiculous. I think they did that just hoping that my bond would be higher, that maybe I wouldn't be able to pay it. The second chance bail bonds, this company just paid my bond for me because they saw it on the internet and they thought it was so messed up.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then my friend, attorney Brian Teves, he's a genius attorney. He came to my aid. He visited me while I was in there, up on the ninth floor in the sheriff jail cell. But yeah, they held me in there. Didn't give me any food, didn't give me any water, but I'm fine. And so none of that's gonna stick. But I got a felony charge, which then complicates things because we know who's in charge of charging the felonies in Fulton, Fonnie Willis, who I have Miles's case as well as several others open. So that's a conflict. So now what's going to have to happen is what's called PAC. It's the Prosecutor Action Council or something like that, Action Committee. I don't even know, but it's called PAC. It's a group of prosecutors and they run this type of thing. They're going to have to find somebody besides Fulton to take this case and try to prosecute me with it. And because I think this whole thing was just retaliation for maybe some things I said in the bond hearing or the way I'd been challenging some of the things that they say. And then also the way the deputies have been picking on us and picking on me and the way I've been a little needling them back for a while, especially this week. I doubt that the district attorney of any other county is going to want to prosecute it, especially also given that there's no way they can get a conviction because it's just flat out wrong. But you'll see. Yeah, Brian Teves is good. I'm sure that whoever this gets assigned to, he'll meet with them. And if the DA is reasonable and smart and doesn't want to waste their money on getting a not guilty, they'll drop it. If not, we'll just go to trial and I'll win, and that'll be that.
Wow, this is like now you have the experience to know and have empathy for your clients because now how they go, what they go through.
Right. Like the whole time you just feel like, wow, it's literally a conspiracy. They want to say, whatever YSL they want to say is a conspiracy. Maybe that's a bit of projection because they're actually the ones that do conspiracies. Just the whole thing, charge me with something I didn't do, framing something that I did as obstruction or battery, which it wasn't, and then, do whatever they did. So.
And with this, everything that's happening, even with you, it's really tainting the whole system with this trial. I don't know where they're going to get a fair trial.
Right. Even though my, reputation on the internet about this is favorable, who's to say that someone even just seeing it isn't going to maybe think differently of Miles or think differently of me when we finally get Miles's trial? They're going to be like, oh yeah, I saw that lawyer in the shade room. He's a criminal, So, I don't know. That's why I was trying to make as many statements as I could today. And I appreciate everyone and people like yourself for, giving me a platform to tell the truth.
Yeah. That's definitely necessary. I went through the same thing. Someone lied on me, eventually got thrown out. But the point is, my whole image, my everything is just like, I can't believe it. But I knew the truth. I still had to pay $5,000 for an attorney.
Right. Exactly. And what's sad about that is, in a weird way, when they know, that's why they do these things, because they know that even if they're wrong, they're going to win in a small way. They're going to get a punishment on you. You could have gone on vacation with that $5,000. You could go to Dubai, but you gave it to a lawyer and they got that from you. So they stole that vacation from you. So they win. They always win in a small way,
Yeah.
So,
and my picture's still all over the place. My picture's still.
And you're not allowed to take things off Twitter. That's why I do want to tell the truth on, platforms like this and wherever I can. Because you just don't get that back. And then also the process itself is punishing. Like, you're supposed to be presumed innocent. And even when people get a bond, like I had a pregnant woman colleague's client that I was trying to help. And even after they posted her bond on a case that she supposedly missed court for, even though she already took a plea. So the whole thing was a mistake, but she gets a bond, she pays it, and it still took like 36 hours for her to get out. So that's like, and she's in Rice Street, which we all have seen on the news lately, is incredibly cruel inside of there. So, why do you have to do all that? Even the intake thing is humiliating and degrading. Like, they made me take off all my clothes.
Wow.
Like, I go in a room with a deputy that's got literal just feces in a hole, and it smells like feces and it's dirty everywhere. And I got to take off all my clothes, including my underwear, in front of this guy. And then I have to squat and cough to supposedly make sure that I don't have anything inside my body. And then they take you to the medical area. They do a tuberculosis test, which is nasty. That's what they do. They puncture your skin and it inflates like the size of a Skittle, under your arm. And if it goes down all the way, that means you don't have tuberculosis. And I've kind of learned to get a little smart. If you just refuse that, then they're not going to do it. Like, I kept telling him, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing a COVID test, not doing any of this stuff that you guys are going to do to just kind of mess with my body and, make me uncomfortable. And that I'm not consenting to any medical procedures or tests. And if you stand your ground with that, they will, pretty much, they didn't make me do it. I don't know if that's an attorney thing. So and that's what's crazy is I was so privileged throughout the whole process. I have top attorneys helping me. I have the sheriff is worried about the politics of it. He's worried about me getting hurt. They never had me around the other inmates in the intake room. Once you're done doing the medical harassment and and all that stuff and getting naked and the sexual humiliation that comes with that, then they put you in a cell like an animal with like 20 people where you only have like a square foot to yourself and you're just standing there for hours. They didn't do that to me. But I think they only did it because they knew if I got hurt, then, that would look even worse because just the way our society is set up, that would get attention more than someone that's poor getting hurt, So I don't know, it's crazy.
Did you eventually take your medicine?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I got out luckily. That's another thing. Yeah, I got out luckily by the time the next day that I would need to be taking it. But had I been in there multiple days, I doubt they would have given it to me. And then that would have been also uncomfortable. So all these ways that they just punish us outside of the rules without any evidence, we don't even have preliminary hearings. So the cops could have taken it even further. They could have said, oh, we think this is something it's not. And then without probable cause, I would just be sitting in there.
Wow.
And also they're used to picking on people that have a long criminal history from this thing happening to them a lot, where I've been fortunate to not have people target me like this. People that have been targeted, throughout their lives, and then you take a plea that you shouldn't have because you got the public defender or you can't afford the bond, and they put something on the table like, oh, do you want to wait for your trial in 8 months without a bond, or do you want to just say you did it and go on probation for a year? What do you want to do? And they do this over and over and over. So you got a guy that's got maybe 3-4 things on his record. If that was me, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I'd be in there without a bond, and then I probably would have admitted something I didn't do too, just to get out and get back to Miles, get back to fighting the case. So yeah, it's a very intricate system, and I mean, for what it is, I mean, it's brilliant in the way that it hurts people. It's hard to stop it. So I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of things working together that make it difficult for people not to be punished for things they didn't do, and for people to be punished more for the things they did do than they should be. So, and that is an issue that people also don't think about. Like, okay, even if somebody's guilty, if he should have got 6 months in jail, why is he getting 3 years?
Yeah.
Why can't people have a punishment that's proportionate to what they're accused of? And why can't the punishment for everyone be the same for when they do the same things as each other?
Yeah. Speaking of that, I know you got some good news today where Farley got bond. How much is it? Because at one point I thought when you text me, I thought it was like 650,000.
Yeah.
But it's 625. Which one is
It's
it?
higher than normal. It's $625,000 US, and through our bonding company system, which is a weird system that profits off of all of this and profits off of people's desperation and poverty and the unfair parts of the system. Usually they pay you have to pay them like 10 to 12%, and then they pay the rest. And the way their business works is kind of like health insurance. They're betting on people going back to court. Because like when Miles posts this bond, he's probably gonna have to pay like 70,000, 75, 80 with the surcharges and everything. And then the bonding company will pay the rest. And then if Miles violates something and his bond gets taken away, the bonding company doesn't get that money back. But when we go to trial and Miles is found innocent, then the bonding company's good. So they have hundreds and hundreds of people. And, every once in a while, somebody misses court or whatever, fails a drug test, they lose that money, but they get all this 70,000 here, 50,000 there, 20,000 there. They get to keep that. So that's their business model. And so now Miles, to post his bond, is going to have to come up with something, like 70, 75K. And then every bonding company is different. I hope with the notoriety of this and how innocent he is and how strong our defense is, that maybe a bonding company will step up and give us a better rate. But I mean, even if we had to pay half, 35K, that's going to be rough. There's other special conditions too: ankle monitor, wrist monitor, curfew, staying at a certain house, not going to certain places, not talking to certain people. I mean, there's other innocent people on the indictment that are family friends of his, and it's like, I mean, he's grown up with some of these people, and so he's not allowed to talk to them now. He's not allowed to go certain places. Um, yeah, he's not allowed to leave the house unless it's for school or work or to come to my office. So it's rough. I mean, it's definitely not freedom in the full sense, but it's more freedom, of course, than what
Simply,
the other defendants, the other defendants are suffering through now. Um, so yeah, it's like a partial freedom, I guess.
so with him being severed now, how long will it take for him to get a trial?
Well, that's same as the question as, how long is this trial going to take? Because it's going to
Um,
have to be afterwards. Because Glanville's still in charge of us. I'm still his attorney, and Glanville's still his judge. So whenever this trial ends, that trial will begin whenever Glanville wants it to, and that'll include Miles and then maybe the 6 others that have been severed. But who knows if they'll have an attorney or if they'll be severed again for some reason from each other, or will they take some kind of resolution? Will they lie in exchange for some kind of deal, which has happened? Yeah, who knows? But I think it's still favorable for Miles because the RICO, everyone, the guys are going to win, but I mean, it's just so much is unfair about this whole trial that I think Miles will have a more fair trial, with fewer people, and then the jury selection won't take so long. If it is really 4 or 5 of us after this one's done, that'll probably take 2-3 weeks.
so you're gonna be trying with the others that has taken the severed?
Yeah,
Right.
they were set. The other 6 people that were severed were only severed because the
They didn't have
state,
an attorney, right?
yeah, the public defender system, which is a whole other mess for you to talk about with the other attorneys that are dealing with that.
Hmm.
They didn't appoint them attorneys. And so because they didn't have an attorney and Glanville wanted to start, he severed them. And just because I got arrested and Miles couldn't be in court that day and he wanted to go have court that day, he severed Miles. So it's just 6 guys that are severed for that. And then Miles was severed because I wasn't present against my will, that day in court.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, I think what should have happened is they should have waited. They should have one of my doctors or actually investigated it, and all that we would have missed out on would be like that half day at court. We could have taken a recess. Um, but it's a blessing, things happen in mysterious ways. I think this is better for Miles. So
Yeah, just it's the whole system, and I know already because I'm watched just like you guys are watched. I'm watched right now. They're watching my channel, and it's like a power struggle in that whole court, and it's crazy. I've never experienced anything like that. So much tension in that place. So
right, right. I mean, the guys are being tortured. They're not knowing when this is going to end. Um, yeah, it's bad. I mean, but one silver lining is now that there's 13 defense instead of 14. I mean, you guys saw earlier this week, I was going to ask a lot of questions over the year.
mhm.
So maybe at least this trial will be just that little bit shorter that we have 13 defendants instead of 14 now.
So you totally off of it, and you're just gonna do. You still representing Miles,
Oh,
right?
of course, yeah, I represent Miles always and forever, and we're just going to wait until he has his chance to have trial, and then I'll have that trial with him and then any of the other defendants. I mean, I really believe that every defendant should have their own trial. It's not fair to ever go to trial with someone else. Yeah, the judge gives these limiting instructions that don't consider this against him, don't consider this against that. But are we even psychologically capable of doing that, even if we were the smartest person and we tried as hard as we could? I don't think so. That's not how bias and perception works with our brain.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't think that's fair. Not to mention that the other, we're lucky that in this case that the guys all have excellent attorneys and that the defense and the truth is, aligned. But I've had trials where, that defense attorney is saying something about my guy that's not true, or I'm saying something about his guy that's maybe not making his guy look so good. And then it's just messy. It's unpredictable. You don't get to kind of know what's going to be said, so you end up sometimes fighting 2 fights. Oh, the DA is saying this, I got to fight that. And then that guy's defense attorney is saying that, I got to fight this. That's called an antagonistic defense, and it's grounds for severance. But here in Georgia, the case law, like most issues, is against us on the defense side from the beginning.
Wow.
So the case law for severance here leaves it completely in the discretion of the judge. So, okay, you can have an antagonistic defense. You can have all these other grounds that sever a trial, but it's still considered in the totality by the judge, and he has the discretion to sever or not sever as he pleases. And the Court of Appeals and the Georgia Supreme Court has never reversed like something like that by a judge. They just always say, oh, well, that was his discretion. Just like here in Glanville's, case, there's that discretion. It's very interesting. Mr. Steve Sadow, who represented Sergio Kitchens,
Mm-hmm.
he brought a lot of this up, like at a prior hearing, like why it should be severed, why this is too many people at once. The jury pool is going to be, not representative. It's going to take too long. And, it's in the discretion of the judge.
Yeah, and you, Jason, you raised some great arguments when you were talking about the bond hearing, when you mentioned that, at Kitchen, he was so dangerous before, all of a sudden when he says yes, he's no longer a danger, which is definitely a good argument, because it doesn't make sense. It's the same person, same charges, same situation. How is it now he's out on bond? I mean, not out on bond, but on parole and what was it, parole, right? Isn't
probation? Yeah, he's on probation. Yeah,
probation, and he's able to walk around. I mean, with curfews and limitation, but he's out.
Right, exactly. So I think, Judge Glanville accepted that argument, and for someone like Miles, it just kind of cornered him in a way where, well, there wasn't really a reason to deny Miles his bond in the first place. And he seemed like he almost granted it that third time. So I felt like that was enough of a change. And if you also notice, like, it's kind of off topic, but all the proffers that have been made for the probation deals were all answering yes or no questions.
Yes.
So everything's coming out of Adrian Love's mouth, not the defendant's. A more reliable, thing would be, tell me what happened. Tell me what you think YSL is. That's, to me, reliable. But right now you can ask me anything and say yes, and if I just know that, oh, I got to say yes to whatever you say for me to get out and I don't have a bond, okay, that's not reliable to me.
Yeah. And would that be since they took a plea and things like that, they can't come back? And
oh yeah, it's so complicated. Like that, those things that we've seen online that were recorded in court, those answers to those questions are not admissible at trial. Only if the defendant testifies and they say something different can it even come in. But that's where Fonnie Willis was pretty smart doing things this way. Let's say someone like Sergio Kitchens wants to testify. He can't get up there and say YSL doesn't have criminal activity, because then that he would be impeached and they would say, well, isn't it true you said something before in the past, and now you're not giving a truthful answer, so now your probation deal goes away. But he also doesn't have to go say anything to keep his probation deal. So it's like they just got him out of the way and got him to say all this stuff on social media, I think hoping that the jurors would see it and consider it, unlawfully.
And then with the social media, you see how much it's tainted because it's one-sided. You guys are looking like bad guys. You got the attorney getting arrested for bringing in drugs, and you have people bringing in contraband, blah, 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 blah. All the negativity, all the negative press is coming on you guys. So definitely it's going to be hard for you guys to get over.
Right. Because stuff gets misreported. Like, for example, stuff is misleading. Like, I do got to give it to Shade Room. They're like one of the only ones that had a very accurate headline. They said attorney in the YSL RICO case brought his prescription medication, but other places just said attorney arrested for bringing prescription medication in the courtroom. But the huge part of that is that it's my prescription from my doctor for my health challenges. And so, like, if whatever it might be, if it's a prescription pill, that just means what it is. A lot of things are prescription pills, Vicodin, Xanax, Percocet, Adderall. But that, if you don't have a prescription for any of those things, then yeah, that's a crime. So some of those headlines make it seem like that. So a juror might go online and look at that or see it. Or even like on April 28th, we're going to bring in 300 more people to watch that video. And none of those people have been instructed by the judge, like, not to look up this case yet. They're going to be told that when they come in on the 28th. So that's where Fonnie's smart. She knew we're going to examine hundreds and hundreds of more people who weren't told not to watch it. And I think, like, for example, I think that Lil Woody interrogation tape, which is first of all out of context, so they don't get to know the context. They don't get to know anything about who he is and where he is and why he might be saying what he's saying, and they don't have to hear him answer questions like the officer did when he answered my questions on cross-examination earlier this week. And so I think that was viewed by like 30 million people, and so I'm sure some of the people on this next pool will have seen it, and it's okay for them to have seen it because they weren't told not to. Because the other jurors are told, oh, well, if you see something about this case at all, just exit out, just scroll past it, don't even read it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How realistic that is, I don't know, but yeah, it's at least better than it's at least better than not being told anything about it, because this is a very intriguing, interesting topic for people. And so I think anyone that scrolls past it is going to stop and read it. And then on April 28th, they're going to be told to set that aside. And then if they're honest in their questionnaire, they'll say, I've been exposed to this and I can't be fair. But the more people that have been exposed to it and excluded from consideration makes the jury selection process longer. And for the people without a bond, now they're getting punished more again for something they didn't do. So,
yeah. Now I have a question. This is something that really was bogged in my mind. The situation with LaRod, Ryan, Mr. Ryan,
right.
happened the day before your appeal situation, correct? Right.
Right.
Do you remember when Mr. Kendrick's attorney said that he wanted to see the videotape because he don't know if anybody went his back because they took all of us out the court.
Weinstein, yeah. I admire him for that.
So do you think they might have went in your bag and saw your prescription medication then, and then the next day they come in?
No, because I mean, you know me, I took my bag with me that day, and that was
okay.
That's what the whole unfairness was with what they did to Mr. Weinstein. They were trying to tell him that he has to leave his bag in the room, and that's when he, stood his ground, because that's not allowed. That has confidential information. He's not required to leave that unattended, especially when him and none of the other attorneys have ever done any kind of misconduct, and there's been no evidence of any misconduct. So yeah, I don't think so. I mean, who knows? They've been watching us. I've been sitting around the deputies, opening my bag over and over. Someone could have looked in it. I mean, it's not any secret. I've even actually taken medication in court in front of people. So yeah, who knows? I don't know if it was that deep though. I mean, I think they were just looking for anything they could, and then they're taking out every little thing just to make the process longer. They already know that I've been a bit emotional about having my things searched for no reason. And I've expressed dissatisfaction with that in the prior days. And so they kind of knew that maybe that would get under my skin if they just searched every little thing and took a long time doing it. And I'm petty sometimes. It's kind of funny. I actually had the thought of as just a little prank, which would have been totally immature and petty. And I'm glad I didn't get a chance to even do it. And I hope I would not have done it had I had the chance, because then they arrested me before I could do it. But that day I was because they were taking so long trying to irritate me, taking every little thing out of my bag, putting it back in. When they were done searching it and putting the stuff back in, I was going to walk out and walk back in, and then keep walking out and in and out and in, and keep making them work and put stuff in and out of the bag. That was my thought in my mind, because I was sitting there, irritated, but I didn't do it. And, but that's just stuff. I mean, I don't know. I should have been more mature and reserved about the situation, but it's hard, man. They've been pestering us for months. So it's tough. It's easier said than done.
Well, I have people in the group in chat that want to ask you questions. Are you ready for the questions?
Yeah, no problem.
All right, can you look at the questions too? What I'm going to do is go up to the top. Let's see. All right, guys, if you have question for Mr. Okay, how do I say your last name? I don't want to chop it up and jack it up. I'm good for that. I'm good for messing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Greek name, so it's like translated, it's pronounced from the original language into how I pronounce it, which is like a Midwest suburban accent where I grew up in the Detroit area, and now it's transplanted to a Southern Atlanta accent. So I understand if some of the vowels get changed and stuff, but I say it Manettas.
Manettas. Okay, Manettas. Like my sister's name is Monet. She spelled it almost like the way you spell it, not yours. Monettee. That's how she spelled her name.
Yeah, so it's like that. And some people, with the Southern accent, they'll say like Manettas, and
so is Manettas.
And honestly, it's really not Manettas the way I say it growing up in Michigan, where I was born and raised. In Greek, it'd be like Manettas. So I mean,
Manettas. I
yeah.
like
So
Manettas.
yeah. So I mean, yeah. You can. It kind of reminds me like Obama, how he used to do some of that stuff. He would say like, we're gonna talk to the leader of Pakistan or the Muslims. He would say it kind of how they say. But I mean, so yeah, that's a linguistic thing. But yeah, I say it's Mr. Manettas. That's how I say it, and so it's not. If people get the consonants right and the vowels right, that's open to interpretation based on their accents. So,
I since you mentioned about Greek, how is your parents doing?
oh yeah, they're doing well. They're doing well. Yeah, they stuck around. They were supposed to just observe for one day, but they got along with the people watching, and they found an interest in what was going on. And
I
then,
love them. It was nice meeting them.
well, thank you. I'll tell them that. Yeah, I'll tell them that. Thank you.
Okay, hold on. Let me get the first person's question. Is Randa? She says, what does he think about the chaos in the courtroom the other day?
I mean, I think it was provoked by the deputies. I mean, regardless of what really happened, if you take what they're saying as true, that they're just accusing him of having marijuana, it's still unnecessary what they did. I mean, he's incredibly short statured. He doesn't weigh a lot. And all of a sudden, you've got 12 huge dudes in body armor and with weapons surrounding him and just snatching him up like a kidnapping over some weed. Like, I can, no one's safety is at risk. Weed's not dangerous, even if you smoke it or whatever you do with it. So, I mean, why did that? I mean, I can understand if they thought he had a knife on him or a gun, but the way they did it was just so degrading. And like, I don't know, they surrounded him, didn't tell anybody what was going on, didn't have to tell his attorney what was going on, which was traumatizing, and just pulled him away. I mean, what they really could have did was walked up to him with like one or two guys, not even two, one. I've never seen, I mean, they would have just said like, hey, come with me. And then if he's not following their instructions, then you can escalate. That's their problem. They just jump to like level 99 right away. If you could come with one guy, say, hey, Mr. Ryan, come with us. And then if he says, oh, no, okay, then it would be like bring in maybe two or three guys. And then if he's still, then, but to just bring everybody all at once. And then it was scary too. All the media stands up and starts watching. And then there were like these guys that it's almost laughable how they're undercover. Like they just look like police, just their energy and the way they're trying to dress up in their civilian clothes. It was just so obvious. There were some undercover officers that just stood up. So it was alarming. Yeah, I think the chaos was caused entirely by the sheriff's department, which is sad because they're actually the ones in charge of making sure there isn't chaos. And yet here they are creating chaos, no matter what any of us do. Like for me, for example, okay, if I say something disrespectful or I say something rude, that doesn't justify them being rude back to me or whatever they want to do to me. Their job is to just maintain the security of the courtroom and transport the inmates. And that's it. So whatever is said to them needs to go in one ear without the other, but they can't do their job right.
Wow. So is it one unit? Is it all underneath the sheriff department, or is it Atlanta, the Fulton County? Or
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really privy to that kind of thing. I mean, I know there was some Cobb, like SWAT kind of dudes sometimes. So I don't know what arrangement the sheriff's departments have with each other, like loan out people to each other or what. But no, it's supposed to be just Fulton County is in charge of the Fulton County Courthouse, and that's run and administered by the Fulton County Sheriff's Department. But there's been some other departments coming in as like a substitutes. I don't know what that arrangement is.
Okay. Next question says, are there any calls to have the feds take over the Fulton County Jail?
Yeah, no, I haven't heard anything like that. That's not something that would even be allowed. That's a completely different jurisdiction. It tracks the language of our RICO statute. Our RICO statute is just pretty much copied and pasted from the federal one. But yeah, that's not something that I've ever heard of. And I actually don't have any experience in the federal system. I've been in Georgia and in the state trial level since I got started. So that's not anything I've heard of, but it is a completely different jurisdiction, like a completely different sovereign, actually. I mean, the federal government is the United States of America. Fulton County is part of the state of Georgia. And then those are supposed to be, mostly separate.
Yeah. How long have you been practicing?
Yeah, I got my license in 2015, but I've been, handling my own cases under supervision, either as an intern or as a student in clinics in law school since 2012. And then, from 2014, I was part of the juvenile public defender's office doing my own cases under supervision. And then I got hired as a full public defender doing the felonies for about a year. And then I just got into like a personality conflict with the supervisors and how they run things. And then in 2016, I went on my own and started my own practice, Manettas Law. And it's actually funny you ask, because that's how I got into this whole situation. I would get off work as a public defender while I already had my business secretly made, and I would drive Uber, and I would just drive around and sometimes do like these crazy night shifts, just talking about what I'm trying to do and passing out my cards and finding anybody that could support me and help me get my name out there. Because I knew I could do what I do as a public defender, but it's just hard to get to know people when you didn't grow up here, you didn't go to law school here. And so I'm driving around handing out cards, and one of the people I gave a ride to that took a liking to me and I became friends with was Miles' dad, Sam Farley, who has a barbershop on Cleveland Avenue. And then I start becoming friends with him, and also he's helping me be up to speed in terms of kind of how people would expect their attorney to fight for them. He's got no criminal history whatsoever, but I mean, he just part of the community like everyone else. He's a barber. And then, I thought it was fun and useful for me to go to his shop on Cleveland. And so I've been getting my beard trimmed on Cleveland since 2016. And then that's how I decided to do this for Miles, because it was just an emergency, tragic situation for his dad, who's my friend.
Yeah. But I mean, especially this case has been going on so long. How has your practice been, with all of this expenses going out?
It's actually fine. I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, it doesn't take me long to talk a colleague into helping me out. I've been exchanging favors for people, like, I'll work on something for them, and then they'll agree to sit with Miles a little bit. So I don't know if you've noticed, there's been a couple times where someone's sat with Miles on a day where I wasn't going to talk anyway, and then they'll sit with Miles. I'll go fight my other cases. And then it's kind of the way criminal law works too. Sadly, it's like most people do take a plea in the end because it just doesn't make sense to go to trial. That's why I really admire Miles for standing so tall and, not admitting something he didn't have any part of or that he didn't do or anyone might have done. Because most people, it's like, oh, do you want to do 2 years of probation, or do you want to roll the dice at trial with these biased people and these corrupt judges that aren't going to give you a fair fight and have your attorney fight with one hand behind his back? And if you lose, you're going to jail for up to 20 years. Who would roll those dice, So I think like only 3% of trials happen out of all the cases. So 97% of the time, someone's doing a plea. So that's something I could work on in court. And so I've been writing motions in court. I've been doing stuff at night, calling DAs on the lunch breaks, and it's gone pretty smooth. And then my plan was, and still is, if a trial's about to actually happen, then I reach into my network and someone's going to sit with Miles while I have that actual trial. And it was about to happen a couple times, and then I showed up in the state. That's what happens a lot of times too. When you really call their bluff and you're going to go to trial, you show up that morning and they might offer you something way less than they've ever offered before, and then you take it. So that's happened a couple times. That's why I haven't really been absent that long. But there's times where I had arranged colleagues who are also talented attorneys to sit with Miles while I go do a murder case for a week. So I got one on Judge Carnesale May 15th. Now that I'm severed, I need to get those favors, but that's gonna be a good one. That's in the building too, so I
might stop by there.
I'm gonna stop in and see something exciting. That's gonna be a good one, yeah.
Yeah. Since we're on that same topic about someone stepping in for you, do you still have to buy lunch for your colleague?
Yeah, it's so funny. They're all cool. Like, they really don't even want me to, because they don't want to give in to what it is, so they don't even want the lunch. But yeah, the deal was now that I got to do it on May 19th. I thought it had kind of blown over. He said, do the $250 fine to a charity and buy lunch for your colleagues. Because there was one time, like, Jimenez came in and just gave us all some treats that his wife had baked.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so I thought it was all kind of informal, and then I gave, the day passed. The day that I was supposed to buy lunch the first time, he only gave us a 45-minute lunch break. I was gonna like order a pizza or walk over to American Deli with everybody or something, but he only gave us 45 minutes, and then I just put it off and forgot about it. I mean, I'm trying to fight for Miles' life, so that's whatever. So yeah, I did that, and then it just blew over. And I did make the donation to Miles College that Miles actually went to. You know, I wonder if the judge thought that was some kind of sarcastic, funny thing when I made a donation to the Miles College scholarship fund. But Miles really did go there and graduate from there with a business degree, and so I did that. You know, I emailed it, and he said he's going to put it part of the record, and that was that. And then nobody talked about it again, and then it just randomly came up earlier this week for whatever reason. And then he said pick a day. I picked May 19th, the day that we were supposed to watch another video, the last round of that. And so we'll see. I mean, I'll still do it just because, but I wonder if he still expects me to now that I'm severed.
Probably
I got a funny thing I just thought of for the 6 unrepresented defendants who are technically representing themselves right now. If I'm severed off with them, maybe I can buy them lunch or put something on their commissary.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. It says here, does Thug have a better case for bond since now Farley got one?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it seems like the judge agreed that things have changed between now and December, and the things that I brought up that had changed apply to all the co-defendants. So yeah, I would say yes to that. But of course, every defendant is in their own position, and so we'll see. I hope he does.
But remember, I had sent you those individuals who, with the other case with the YFN, they have bond. Did you see what
I didn't fully examine it. I did look at it. I didn't fully examine it, but yeah, that's very interesting.
Because one of them got $55,000 as a bond. So wow. In his charge, he had a gun charge as well, and he's a RICO. So why can't Farley get that amount?
Right. Well, yeah, you never know. Judges don't like that, comparing things.
But that's what you're supposed to do. If you can find somebody who has the same crime and the same charges.
Right. I mean, you're right. Yeah, you're exactly right. That is a fundamental principle of due process in America, that things are not supposed to be random. Mm-hmm. And you're exactly right. The fact that different judges decide things differently injects an element of randomness into things. Because, okay, this is my courtroom. I'm the judge here. And I don't think, the different judge from Miles might have said, you know what? I don't agree. I don't think anything has changed since December. And so that would have been that judge. So every judge is different. They get to say every defendant's different. There's no hard and fast rule of, if you have this record, you get a bond or this or that. It's all kind of up to the judge. So.
Okay.
And with what's going on with those YFN guys, you really don't know too. Like, we'd have to know more. Like, you can actually consent to a bond with the state. So a lot of times I'll cut to the chase with the prosecutor and be like, look, the judge is going to give me a bond anyway, or look at this guy's history or whatever. And can we just agree in writing for this bond at this amount, and let's go present it to the judge. Maybe that happened with the YFN guys.
Okay.
And even though Fonnie Willis is the head district attorney, I've never been a prosecutor and I've never worked for her office, especially, but different offices give different discretion to their agents and their assistant district attorneys. So for all we know, Fonnie might have told Adrian and Simone, okay, you go do what you want to do. And then maybe she told the people that are prosecuting the YFN case, you do what you want to do. And they just are different people that made different decisions and with different attorneys.
It seemed like the person that's over that, she's a little bit different. Her name is Christian. She's a little bit different. She's not hardcore like Adrian. Adrian's very hardcore.
Yes, I really know nothing about that case because I've been so consumed with this one.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm lucky that Mr. Farley was not a substantial part of the discovery, because there's a lot. It's 3 terabytes, which is kind of hard to wrap your mind around how big that really is.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is, let's see. Okay, it's not. Okay, there we go. How could it be possible for drugs to be sewn into jail issued boxers?
Yeah, that I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a tailor. I don't sew things. I have no idea. But I don't know. I can get creative and try to imagine. I mean, maybe you fold it over and sew the edges together. Maybe you take 2 pairs of boxers and you sew them together at the bottom or the top to make it look like it's 1 pair and there's stuff in between. That I don't think I could answer, but it seems like somebody that knows more could figure that out. It doesn't seem impossible to me.
Wow. What what you feel about the Joe Proctor comparison?
Yeah, that I'll say on the front end. I did look this up before. When did uh, Jerry Ferrara, who plays Joseph Proctor on Power, when did that episode first air? And I was practicing law the way I am now a little bit before he got introduced on the show. So for the record, I was Proctor before Proctor, but yeah, it's funny. Yeah, literally 1,000 people have told me that. Pretty much every person brings that up to me. And there's funny too. There's like kind of a racial divide too. Like there's the show Better Call Saul. I feel like every white person says, "Oh, you remind me of Saul from Better Call Saul," and then black people will say, "You remind me of Proctor." I don't know if I ever had a white guy say, "Oh, you remind me of Proctor," but it's funny. That's a fun conversation starter. A lot of people do bring that up. It is bizarre how many there's more parallels than people even know, with the baby mom. I don't have a child, but just that character the baby mom reminds me of someone from my past. His family members kind of remind me of some of my family members. Like it's strange. I don't know what's up with that, but maybe 50 Cent watched me in the juvenile court when I was an intern and based a character off me. Who knows?
It says, they would like to know, how do you feel about Fanny representing one of the YSL members in the past?
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah. She used to be a defense attorney. I guess people are say that she represented someone called YSL Mondo, who's an alleged co-founder of whatever they try to say YSL is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't feel any kind of way about that. I mean, there's so many things about this that are bizarre that I've just kept my head down and looked at the proposed evidence against Miles and tried to think of ways to show people how that's not true about Miles, and that's all I've been doing. So I really don't know. I don't know anything about YSL Mondo. I don't know anything about Fonnie Willis before she was a district attorney or before she ran for judge and didn't win. I don't know. That's when I was first on the scene in the Fulton, politics scene. But I actually also don't. I'm like there's kind of a spectrum of how in music there's people with different styles, and like I'm not very political. Like I just like to go on the fighting in court, whereas it's not bad, but there's other attorneys that have more of the building relationships with prosecutors and networking and trying to get them to agree to stuff. And that's just not my skill and how I really do things. So yeah, that's just something that's a little different. So yeah, I really don't know.
Okay. And I'm going to do 2 more questions, and then we're going to give you some time to go get some.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. I don't know how people do it talking about this. I've been. No, it's not you. Yeah, it's not you, but it's just funny. Like, I mean, people have been asking me the same questions all day, and I've been eager to answer them and grateful for that because I know that I don't want to get things twisted in other ways. But yeah, it's like that's why I don't think I could be a politician or anything like that because I like just when you do the cross and the bond hearings, it's always a little different. It's planned out, but there's some improvising. But this, I've been all day. I've been like, yeah, my doctor prescribed me those, and they're all in my name, and they're all mine, and I'm a patient, and I didn't throw that phone to that officer. Okay, and I was just like saying it over and over and over again. So yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay. How has the judge addressed the negative energy in the courtroom?
No, he hasn't. But there's definitely been a lot of that. Like, yeah, in this case, more than other cases, like they've been almost treating us like we're on trial as the attorneys when we didn't do anything. Like, for example, when the Woody video leaked, they started saying that we must have had something to do with it. And like, that makes no sense. Like, why would any of us want that? It was so unfair to us because if you really want to look at whether you want to trust anything he says, you got to know about his past and the setting of what he's saying, who he's saying it to, why he's saying it, what do they think his role in it was. And if you really knew all those things, then you would not trust anything he ever says ever again. And so 30 million people online got to see it without any of that, not to mention they didn't get to see him answer any questions from any of the attorneys. So you saw when Simone was doing the direct examination of the officer and then I did the cross, a lot of things came out. So imagine if it was only what Simone asked and then that was it. That's different than the truth. And why would any of us want that? And there's no evidence of that. And yet everyone was saying that one of us must have leaked it. But it's like, really, the other side was the one with the interest in that, or someone that works in their office, who knows? So it's like that right there is just an example of how everything gets piled on to us negatively. And another example is like with the judge. He's an honorable judge and he's doing his best, but every time one of the defendant's attorneys gets up, he'll say something like, make sure you don't ask the same question or it's a $25 fine. And that's the juror's first impression of that defense attorney, who's going to be the spokesperson for the defendant who's fighting for their life. And now he's made it seem to that juror like we've done something in the past that's wrong. And, Adrian sometimes asks repeat questions. He doesn't say anything. And when she gets up, he doesn't tell her, you better not ask the same question or it's $25. So it's those tiny little subtle things that kind of add up. And I don't know. Yeah, it's these deputies too. I mean, I don't fault him. I mean, he's got a hard job, and I sit there and I sit on my computer sometimes, and I just sit there. He's the one that has to actually say the same thing over and over again to the jurors, which can be irritating to have to listen to. But I can't imagine how taxing and exhausting it is to actually just do that all day, every day. So I do commend him for that. I mean, he's doing it himself all day, every day. And then when it comes to a problem with one of the deputies, he's deferring to them, like for the lunch thing, I asked, well, if I order something like directly from a restaurant or I order some pizzas, can I also get some for the defendants? Because I felt weird, like I'm going to bias for the lawyers and not for their clients, why not? And then the judge says, well, that's a security issue for the sheriff to decide. And then, but I get it. I mean, I'm sitting here talking about that. I mean, why should he have to sit there and even think about that when, it is a security issue and the sheriff should decide it, but it's like.
Can I ask you, why is it security issues? But I've been to a lot of court cases, trials, and I've seen the attorneys purchase food for their client. I've seen that.
Right. And like, we're not in jail. We're presumed innocent. Yeah. And you strike. That's another smart thing you just said, because let's say a guy had a bond versus a guy who doesn't have a bond. They're both presumed innocent. They're both having their right to trial. So how come when my guy has a bond on the lunch break, we can go across the street to Jamrock and have a patty, but Miles can't, but I can't bring him a patty back from Jamrock and give it to him. Why not? And I guess their answer is, well, how do you know I didn't put some pills in there or whatever?
Okay. It's because of the pills situation.
Okay. But they could screen it, like, okay, like, do they really think that the Pizza Hut delivery guy is in on it? And if he drives up to the courthouse and the sheriff watches me grab the boxes and take it in the courtroom, why not that? But they don't do that. That's their choice.
Do you remember in the beginning? I was bringing donuts.
I never got one.
You never got a donut?
We were friends, we were friends back then.
Well, I'll make sure I bring you a donut. But I brought donuts in, and that was not an issue. So why is it now an issue with the food?
Yeah, you gotta ask the deputies, I guess. Objection, speculation.
No, but it just seems so weird now. I've been to a lot of different trials, and I've never seen it this crazy before. Never, ever.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it. I haven't lived it. Yeah, it's new for everyone, I think.
Yeah, and this is your last question. I'm going to get it from my girl here. She said you're her favorite attorney, so I have to get her as the last question.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Says, what does he think about the attorneys wanting off the case because they're not getting paid, including jurors won't get paid either, not getting paid either?
I mean, I don't think anyone wants off the case. All they want is to be treated with dignity and to make at least a minimum wage by law, because really anything besides minimum wage is illegal and forced labor, and we don't have that anymore in this country. So you need to at least make minimum wage, which is way too low. But yeah, I think they really do deserve more money. I mean, how can you possibly say that they're going to do a 9-to-5 commitment that's super high stakes, super intense, also includes a lot of outside court preparation? So let's really say it's more like a 9-to-9 thing for 2 years, and you get $15,000, divide 15 by 24 months. What is that per month? That's not minimum wage. So I think they're right about that.
I didn't think about the 2 years. I did it by 1 year Just the trial time. I did not know it includes before the trial started.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been on this case since Miles was arrested on April 1st, 2022. And those attorneys have been on, I guess, since maybe around when jury selection started. But I mean,
From the time they got the case all the way till the case is over, only $15,000.
that's what the Georgia Public Defender Council is saying is fair and what's going on. I mean, I think that's really like slavery because you're working for no money. I mean, that's a crazy word to use, but what other word can I use?
Yeah.
I mean, and then they're going to say, well, oh, that's your choice. You sign the contract. The contract says flat $7,500 per case. And then they did a courtesy when they asked for more money and they asked for a fair wage. They said, okay, you can have $15,000 for the whole case. And they're trying to say now that, well, you signed up for it. And I will say, technically, I guess, because it's not minimum wage, I think it's a contract that's not enforceable. But an unenforceable contract just means that they can get off it if they want, which they don't want. I know all those attorneys. They're very passionate. They're very talented. And those honorable attorneys just want to fight the case. They just want to be compensated for it. I mean, I think, why don't they at least just get the rate that the public defenders make per month for their salary and then tell them, don't do any more cases, do just this one, and we'll pay you per year for however many years this goes on, exactly what the public defender makes in Fulton. I mean, that would be fair to me. But yeah, so that's the thing is, and then that's not fair to the defendants because no one's going to want to work 2 years for $15,000. So, okay, it's your right to back out of the contract, but who's going to take their place? It would have to be someone who's doing it for personal reasons like me. And there's not enough people out there for that. And that's not fair to the defendants to have to rely on something like that. And they're basically saying, well, then you could have to represent yourself, pay for an attorney, which very hard to pay for an attorney and make it worth it for them to commit 2 years or something. So yeah, it's just not fair. I don't think that the way things are set up money-wise with the court-appointed people, I think it's not fair to the attorneys doing it, and it's not fair to the defendants because of it just doesn't give them an effective attorney theoretically, because in most cases, like for our case, there's 6 people that no one ever signed up for. So the people that are court-appointed are really the only people I don't know much about the background of it, but all I'm saying is there's not a lot of attorneys out there willing to do this, and that's why you have 6 defendants who were severed and didn't have an attorney. And then on top of that, if we want to say, okay, stay and fight the case for $15,000 in 2 years, how is that? That's not even enough for supplies, dry cleaning, gas in your car, repairing your car, parking. Yeah. And living, eating, your self-care, your cosmetics, all that, your health. And so now if you want to really say, everyone's going to find a way to make it work, I think, but they're very passionate and they're very smart. But I mean, theoretically, if someone had to really drag along that, you're talking about an attorney who's like borderline homeless, not nourished, doesn't look as good as they could look if they had the proper, minimum cosmetics. So if you want to look at it that way, that's also not fair to the defendant. You can't even have an effective attorney, even if they wanted to commit with this unfair wage. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's all. Yeah, I would talk to them about that. I mean, yeah, I'm not court appointed, and so yeah, I'm doing it for my own personal reasons, and so is a lot of the people. But I still think that if you're court appointed by the state, you should be compensated. And that just, my final word will be, isn't it messed up that the state has to pay for your attorney when they're the one prosecuting you? How are you ever going to trust that?
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. But I wanted to ask, as far as his bond situation, does he have it, or is there a GoFundMe account set up, or is there anything?
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know how many of us have $70,000 to $75,000.
I don't.
So, yeah, we'll see. I hope so. And then if we can come up with it, then we're definitely going to try to get creative and see what kind of support we can get, from the community.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you, and thank you for your strength. And thank you again.
All right. Thank you for having me, and I'll see you soon. Are you going to be there on Monday?
Absolutely. Are you going to be?
I'm going to come. I think I might come hang out in the viewing room in the hallways. So.
Okay, do that.
Yeah, and between you and me, I kind of want to see these deputies, have them see me walking around, free.
All right. You have a good one. And
take care. Yeah.
All right. Bye. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. We've got a lot more interviews coming up. I have a slew of attorneys gonna grace us with their presence in here. And hopefully in the final one, we're gonna get Mr. Steels. But I'm not messing with him until the trial is over, okay? So thank you everybody. I hope you enjoyed this interview. And those that want to use my stuff, could you please give me some credit? I didn't put my little marker up there because I know some of you guys are going to try to snatch it up. But please give me my credit. Thank you. Please give me my credit. All right, everybody. You guys have an awesome evening. And then those who wants me to show the footage from today. We don't have much from today. If you want footage, it's just going to be more of, videos. We got some good coverage of Thug. So in the meantime, you guys have an awesome evening. God bless you. Love you guys. Bye. Oh, I forgot to thank all those that gave me super chat. Hold on. Sorry, I don't want to be disrespectful for you guys. I just don't like interrupting someone that's doing the interview. Hold on. Let me go say thank you to everybody that did give super chat. Thank you, Spitting Fire. Thank you to Ms. B Corners. Thank you, Laura Williams. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Let me check and see if I got any Cash App so I could thank those for the Cash App. Oh, my phone just went dead. Lord have mercy, just went dead. Lord. Sorry, guys. Hold on. And I don't want to be mean and not say thank you, not showing my gratitude. Hold on. Let me see. I just want to show my gratitude to those who have taken the time to sow into this channel, and I appreciate you guys. Hold on, let me get it. Hold on, it's dead. See, it's dead. Hold on a second. Just give me a moment. I want to make sure I say thank you to those people. Hold on. Gotta show my thanks. I just don't like interrupting people when they're talking. I don't want them to lose their train of thoughts. That's the only reason why I didn't, stop to make noise and stuff like that. But no, I do appreciate it, guys. Hold on a second. Hold on. I just want to say thank you to those who has sown into this channel, because you guys. And I will be having Mr. Steele and other people here too, eventually. So. Oh, gosh. It's 1 minute. Thank you, Vivian. Thank you. Hold on. Okay, it was just Vivian? Okay, let's see. Okay, it was just Vivian for the Cash App. Thanks, Viv. Appreciate you. All right, guys. Have a good night. Bye.